Have you ever felt like you were trapped in poverty, like it's an escape room, like it's a maze, like it's someplace that feels like no matter how hard you work, no matter how hard you try, it wasn't just sent to stop you, it was also sent as a stepping stone. So how can you take the circumstances that happen to in your life and turn those into opportunities instead of obstacles, stepping stones instead of stumbling blocks? How can you take your life and make it better?
In this video, we'll talk about the determining factors and contributing factors and how this affects your and my life. Allow us to dive in.
Music licensing reimagined.
Peace and blessings, beautiful souls, magnificent beings. We're going to jump into Thomas Sowell, breaking down a few things. We're dealing with contributing factors and determining factors. And we're going to break down how these things impact us and which one is the most important when it comes to our ability to overcome and achieve whatever it is that you and I are seeking to do. Allow us to break this down real quick. Allow us to check out Thomas Sowell and listen to what he has to say.
It's subtle, it's persuasive. You can forgive someone for buying that argument. Or do you have the feeling that it's willful? That the case is so clearly mistaken that there's a willfulness about it?
So what we're dealing with right now and with Thomas Sowell, he's going to break it down. I'm going to pass it back a little bit. He's going to break down this idea of white supremacy being the reason that blacks and other minorities are not seceding. I would jump in and say that he gives very little credence to it. I understand that it does exist, but I also don't give it the power that the left tends to try to impose on the minds of black people, that it is always white supremacy that is keeping us back, when in fact it is a culture, a behavior, a lack of discipline amongst many individuals who and he speaks about how detrimental those circumstances are. But he also points out that in the 1940s and 50s, when it was outright and factors that play a role in what an individual is allowed or can achieve. But there are also those determining factors that actually determine what an individual can and will succeed. And Myron Golden will touch on this. The determining factors are from within. They are the sole control of you and I. The contributing factors are those obstacles placed on individuals from the outside. They have an influence, but they can't outstrip the determining factors, which is our own self-esteem, our own self-confidence, our own willingness to sacrifice, our own willingness to be disciplined, and our own willingness to develop creativity and all the tools that we need in order to make it happen in 2025. Contributing factors are not what is keeping most of us back. It's the determining factors that we have not developed that holds us back. And this goes again, I hate to keep repeating it, but I know many of you want to be victims and want to claim that many of us have no sympathy. I have a whole lot of empathy and sympathy for the conditions that were created that caused a ripple effect of degeneracy, defeatism, victimhoodism, etc. Those conditions were created from outside. However, the determining condition, the determining thing that keeps us in those conditions, for the most part, for most of us, is from within. We refuse to break the cycle. So allow Myron to jump into it and break down a few things with his contributing and determining factors. Allow him to speak.
Because difficult things happen to you. Well, I think I'm a fairly good person to talk about that. I was born the second of 7 brothers, May 14th, 1961. For those of you who want to send me a birthday present, write that day down. No. But anyway, so May 14th, 1961, I was born right here in Tampa, Florida. I was born in Clara Fry Hospital. See, there's no Clara Fry Hospital in Tampa. There isn't anymore because Clara Fry Hospital was a post-Civil War hospital that was started by a post-Civil War nurse that she did in her house. That was a segregated hospital because black folks could not go to Tampa General, right? And so I was born in Clara.
So Myron is giving a breakdown of his story. Those of you who don't know Myron, he's a very successful entrepreneur, a speaker. He has developed many things, and he's a multi-millionaire. And he breaks down the difference between contributing and and we must develop the tools, the mindset, the skill set, the tool set, and acquire assets in order to change the dynamic. If you're not willing to do that, then you're willing to remain in the position that you are in, and you can't blame racism, systematic injustice, etc. These things may exist. They do not exist to the degree that they used to exist, and they cannot stop you